the ending is pretty nice, and everyone is happy, right?
Yeah, but how they get there, I'd actually say the story structure of these comics from the 1950s is probably superior to some of the multi-million-dollar movies we're getting now.
Well, yeah, Hollywood movies. Well, first of all, the fact is they're really, really expensive, which means the studios really have to make their money back, which means you're going to have happy endings, because otherwise, you're not going to maximize your profits. So that's it's.
What about
that?
Uncut Gems or something like that? The one with Adam Sandler. Did anybody see that?
No.
Oh, that doesn't have a happy ending.
Yeah, it's a very, very small percentage of Hollywood movies are going to,
especially when you take into consideration like the Marvel Comics movies, like they're all like very structured to like have that final battle sequence, and the resolution being like the hero standing over the vested and villain's body, not dead.
Yeah. Well, of course, yeah. I mean, they're basically children's movies. They're basically for children.
Yeah.
No, if you want like deep, profound philosophy, yeah, you should probably go to European movies, European cinema, or international cinema,
or at least just the independent movie theater. Like, there's a lot of American independent movies that are pretty substantial too, kind of fall in the same vein.
Can you recommend a good movie and post it in the chat? I'm very interested in any.
We have a movie group. There's
what kind of movies are you interested in?
Just profound philosophical movie. Very good movie.
I think in a few weeks we're doing A Man for All Seasons. Okay. You seen that one?
No, I've never. I want to know because
there's philosophy in that one.
Okay.
If you want meaning, especially, I mean, Jean-Luc Godard is a French filmmaker. All of his stuff is rife with meaning, usually about relationships or kind of like, how people interact with each other. Really good stuff. You want me to write that down?
Sure. Send it in chat. It would be great. Thank you. I've been trying to watch really like I ask people for what they think are good movies, and I try to watch it. Yeah. Sometimes I watch even foreign films. Like, for example, Rurouni Kenshin. That's a Japanese film.
Akira Kurosawa is another good director, like kind of old school. But any movies that he did that aren't about like samurai, or I guess I forget what it's called, but any of his movies that weren't like sort of those martial arts movies are like damn good.
Okay.
The guy who wrote was it Jong Boon-ho, like the South Korean guy who wrote Parasite, yeah.
Yeah, that's a damn good movie.
Did you see The Host? He also wrote The Host.
The Host? I've not.
The Host is like one of his earlier movies. It's kind of like a horror movie. It's like a creature flick, about like this, animal that sort of starts growing in the sewers under Seoul.
Maybe you're gonna help me host a movie night in my group.
I don't care about talking about movies. I want to talk about philosophy.
No. Well, you can talk about philosophy, and then, and the movies. There's something philosophical in these kind of films, right?
Yeah, you can have overlap. It doesn't have to be one or the other, I think.
Yeah, there was in what is it, Fargo, the new sort of show on, I forget, I think it's on FX. They like have included in the storyline like all these little puzzles and kind of like just like kind of like tricks of the mind that like kind of like to mystify and interest you, you know, along the way. That's an example of sort of mixing of sort of philosophy and entertainment. But otherwise, philosophy is like pretty inaccessible. Like a lot of people don't want to think about it. You know, it's too what do you call it? Like micro-examining, like of something. You know,
Yeah.
It's not like usually meant for an entertainment purposes.
I find it enormously entertaining reading these kind of philosophy papers. It really is like you go from a specific issue or a specific problem and you try to drill down to layers and layers of meaning and trying to formulate arguments that try to say something meaningful about the problem at hand. I think it's really interesting. I mean, again, what I find entertaining might not be what the general public is entertaining.
I mean, you and I find it entertaining, but you know, across a widespread audience, probably not.
Okay.
Excuse me. Okay. I can I say something?
Yeah.
Basically, in any movies, there are two types: the art and the commercial. All right. Basically, the commercial is aiming to the lowbrow people. The artistic ones is aiming for a little bit more thinking people. It's more like literature. The commercial one is aiming for the lowbrow. You don't need to think anymore. Just pure entertainment. That's what I see. That's what I think. You see, in the commercial, they have to make them happy ending. Maybe not necessarily, but it's basically aimed to entertain, to feed the crowd. You don't need to think. I'm trying to make a movie myself, okay? I'm trying to mix them art and commercial together. One part aiming to thinking people, one part for the just for entertainment. I mix them together. Okay? The idea is to make the people who do not want to think, they don't need to think. But somehow in the ending, you need to think. But you don't need to think. You just go out. But the one who wants to think, we want to solve the puzzle. Like most European picture. Some people, I say, I don't get it. What's the point? What's the idea? They don't get it. But people wants to think, wants to know, they get the meaning. That's the way I see it. Kurosawa has the Seven Samurai aimed for the crowd, but there's something in there too. It's humanity. it's not necessarily happy ending. Seven samurai ended up 3 left. What happened to the others? They died, you know. But there is the meaning of the story that gives people some idea about, even though I'm a samurai, but I'm not going to work for money. I'm going to help people, the poor farmers. So that's why the leader of the group is working for only 3 meals a day. That's it. The underlying message is humanity, to help human people. So in other words, the EC Comics is literature. It shows what you're supposed to know about human condition, not just like, you know, okay, the Superman, the Superman, the Batman has becoming a little bit on the message side. There is a message, but the crowd people's pictures are just fantasy. It's not the actual human condition. You cannot fly, you know. You cannot always win. So that's why the EC Comic has a point there to make people think. Thank you.
That's an interesting combination, the art and the
Commercial.
commercial. Yeah. It's an interesting way to look at it.
Because
what happened to Thanksgiving?
big one,
What happened to Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the American holiday.
Yeah, why is everybody here? Don't you have family visit?
I have no idea. I'm from Toronto, actually.
Well, there's 8 people here. I think, well, I don't know. I don't know where everybody is. 3 people are not American. I know that.
Canada. With
Okay,
me.
4
I'm
people.
sorry,
4 people are not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I looked at a couple of stories in Two Fisted Tales 20R.
Oh, okay.
There's one story which was Korean War. Some Americans and South Koreans get captured by North Koreans.
Yeah, I seen that. I was selling
What's the name of
those
it?
magazines, those comic books. I was in a
What's the name?
Colonel Jun's the nemesis of the story. He's the commander of the North Koreans.
Oh, I see.
Was it Lost Battalion?
Oh, God, I forget the name of that one, actually. Still with Two Fisted Tales, is it? Massacred. It's called Massacred.
I own most of the EC Comics.
Yeah, well, so that was a short story, and what happens in that, you know, they portray Colonel Jun.
Oh, it's long.
And he has most of the captured soldiers massacred. He keeps a few alive. He's got this plan. He's going to sneak through the American lines with the American uniforms on, and South Korean uniforms. And then he'd pass a message to all Colonel Jun. Pass a message to all his other units to make sure they massacred everybody. And he's walking along and he gets captured by one of his own units. And Colonel Jun saying, "No, I'm your leader, I'm Colonel Jun." And then one of the South Koreans shoots one of the North Koreans, and then they decide, oh, it's all a trick. So they gun down Colonel Jun, and all the others. One of the Americans survives. Oh, do you remember that one, David?
What was the name of the book where it was in?
It was called. It was a Two-Fisted Tales.
Yeah, number which one? Not which number.
Oh, okay. Just find it. Right. Okay, number is number 3, April. $1.50 American.
I own the 10 cents one.
And yeah. Well, this is the interesting thing. I was looking. They're having a complaint in one of the comics. They're going to have to put up their prices to $2.
That's
And
what
I was looking at wages at the time, and typical wages are about $60 a week. So those comics in today's money were working out at about over $20 to $30 in today's money. So quite expensive. I mean, what would you pay for a comic book these days?
You haven't got the 10 cents one? The 10 cents comic book?
Well, these ones got up to $2 back in the early 1950s.
No, the original print. Collector's item.
Oh, right. So what year was the $2 price then?
No, I see. Oh, boy. See.
So that was a reprint, was it? The $2 price was a reprint, late reprint.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right.
I own the 10 marking 10 cents each. I own them 1955, something like that. I have those comic books. So probably you are the younger generation, I think. I have forgotten them already.
Oh, well, I was off in the wrong direction there about the high price of comic books. I was going to complain.
No, if it was $2, it would have been a reprint. Most recent, like 1990s or something like that.
Yeah, that's also okay. And well, basically, I like the comic book because the illustration is pretty good. Especially this Harvey. Harvey is a good comic illustrator. His style is pretty bold. Anybody recognize the way he draws these pictures? Frontline Combat, the one shows in the
Black, I guess. Black City.
the cover.
Well,
Can you show? Anybody has one?
Well, since I honestly cannot find the specific one that Stephen is referring to, I'm afraid I just cannot find it.
His illustration is pretty bold and sharp.
But
Harvey, yeah. No, this is
just do one completely randomly.
No, this is not.
So,
no, this is not.
Oh, this is a Two-Fisted Tale, is it? Yeah, I was flashing through them. I think this is one of the later ones.
Yeah, I honestly cannot find
Jack Davis.
The one that you're referring to, Stephen.
Oh, Jack Davis.
I just can't find it.
Well, the download was 20R.
20R.
Yeah.
No, I don't
No.
have that one either.
Oh, all right. That's strange. You gave it as a download.
Yeah, I know, but that means I have to find which one it specifically is. Okay.
Oh,
not that
right.
one.
Oh, okay.
David has
That's
a
not
front
that one.
cover saying Harvey.
Not that one. Not that one. You see, it's just 21R. Okay, getting closer. 20R. Found it. Save. Download. Here we are. Finally.
No, that's not Harvey. Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Well, the thing of it is, so
See, sharp.
well,
This
the
later one is better.
this is supposed to be the comics reading group, and I always take suggestions about what comics we're going to cover. Generally, I've been making the choices. The people who have come here have just said, yeah, let's just go through some of the greats, some of the classics. So out of all the critics that have made assessments of the great works that have been done in comics, Harvey Kurtzman's EC war comics are almost universally praised as being right up there in terms of the greatest works of all time, not just the greatest war comics of all time, but the greatest comics that have ever been done. Most critics have played it right up at the top. And honestly, I had never given them a whole lot. I'm not a big war comics fan, but Stephen wanted something about manly men doing manly things, so I went with
probably the World War II or Korean theme, not so much. But when it got into stuff like the Romans or the pirates or the Wild West, I could sort of enjoy that theme much more.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so in the 1950s, Harvey Kurtzman, probably best known as the creator of Mad Magazine, but certainly is regarded as one of the greatest cartoonists who there ever was. And in the 1950s, in EC Comics, he did the war comics of Frontline Combat and Two-Fisted Tales.
Yeah.
And he wrote them all and drew many of them. And the ones that he didn't drew, I think he did like layout, and I think he did some inking as well with other pencilers. And these are certainly regarded. The idea here was we were going to read a sampling of them, and I selected 8 or so, just a sample that we should go over. And they are certainly, there's a bit of controversy about them because a lot of them can be said, are they just, jingoistic, flag waving, rah, rah, we're the Americans, we're the good guys, that type of thing.
You got something against Donald Trump.
I think we don't need to be so quick. What I think is happening with Kurtzman's war comics is certainly they are very, very realistic. They are portraying war in a very realistic manner, and that might be considered just very naturalistic. It's not necessarily pro or against, it's just the simple reality of what war is. And I think in the sense that we're just presenting it as it is, in that sense, it could very well be considered anti-war. But I don't think that was inherently the intention. I think the intention really was to portray war in a realistic manner. So let's see what we got here. Massacred, yeah. This one I think is
Severin.
Severin, yeah. Will Severin and Will Elder.
But it might be written by Harvey Kurtzman.
Yeah, let's see if I can find the.
Oh, there he is. There's the infamous bugger himself, Colonel Jun. You do a close up of Colonel Jun. He's the wicked. Oh, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's another tale.
One is better.
Yeah, go back a bit.
Okay, so let's see. There's another one that I
Not
think.
Harvey. That's not Harvey.
Let's
It's
see.
Jack Davis.
I've got this. I think the reason, a lot of the reason why we pay attention to these old comics from the 1950s, there's a great deal of artistry here that can be admired. I mean, certainly, I mean, we're talking about, you know, Will Elder, John Severin, Joe Orlando, Joe Kubert. These are, you know, excellent craftsmen, and certainly they're just in terms of the art, these people, you know, were at the best that there ever was.
They started good there. I mean, they developed the best style later on.
And the impact that these stories will have on you are very visceral, very, very moving. I was moved by quite a number of these stories.
True, very true, very true.
The dynamics of, you know, how you're portraying this, I think is, you know, I mean, it's certainly very brutal, very, very, you know,
Real
graphic
yes.
Depiction of the events here, but certainly a very, very affecting presentation of truly how horrible war is. And I think, if anything, that is, you know, inherently going to naturally be an anti-war statement. Just by simply presenting what it is, the horror of it, and the futility of it, and the waste of it all, you know. And you just have to take a philosophical stance of what are we doing here, you know, what is the possibility. At the same time, you know, it's the same philosophical question of all time. You know, there are situations where it's just unavoidable, but, you know, that we can do that if we want. So I just thought, but, you know, taking that aside, I think, yeah, you do have to, like, just, you can admire the sheer artistry of it, the sheer manner in which this has been presented in such a very, very powerful way of, you know, it's emotionally moving. The atmosphere, the scenarios of it all. It's just, yeah, incredibly, you know, realistically depicted. I mean, such a very, you know, if you really get into it, it can really, really be profoundly moving, I think. So my idea is, if I can find another one, and I might not be able to. Yeah, that's what would happen, of course. Okay. So here is one that I thought was interesting. You start off with no humans at all. It's just the planes, the beach, the bombs, the mines, nothing at all. And then the seaweed. And then we focus in on this sand crab scuttling out from the sea. And this is just such an incredible, scene setting. It's almost meditative. We're not even, seeing any action. It's just these images of this beach, and the sand crab is the first living thing that's coming out. And then the sudden impact of the explosions coming. And then all the action and activity. And it's just the frantic chaos of the activity of the soldiers and the warfare. And it's just suddenly contrasting with the meditative, peaceful scene that we were just going through. I mean, it's really remarkable. And then it's just so much happening here. It's just so chaotic, and just one thing after another. And it's kind of, I mean, it just puts you, I mean, certainly I've never been in the Army. I've never been in the military. I'm not sure anybody here has ever been or even experienced like combat, but you can just imagine what it might be like, the chaos of it and the turmoil of it. Oh my goodness. It would just be the noise and the sounds and the smells. I mean, it just really puts you in there. And I think it's actually even more moving than it would be if you saw it in a movie. I really do, because it's a reading experience. It's not a watching experience like a movie or a television show. It's a reading experience. And that means it's happening inside your mind. That means it's more visceral. It's involving you even more than just passively sitting and watching a movie is. I really think that, because it's you're involved in it. It's more intimate. And you're just there. Your imagination just goes, what would that be like to be there in the smoke and the bullets flying around you and just death? I mean, for goodness sake. You can see why PTSD is such a huge issue for soldiers. And then we end with seeing the seaweed with the crab going back out. Now, first of all, if you're going to tell a rip-roaring action adventure story for children to get little boys involved, and oh yeah, look at all this cool stuff, why would you do this? Why would you have such a meditative, calm? This is not for children. This is very, very adult. This is something that you're supposed to go, oh, wow. You just see the contrast of it. You just see how the difference of the peacefulness of nature compared with the frantic action of mankind, and you go, oh, that just hits you, right? Yes? No?
I think you make a really good point about it being very much an adult story, as well as, I'm just wondering, at its time when it was written, was this targeted towards, like, what age group was this targeted at?
Well, yeah, I mean, ostensibly these were supposed to be, just for young boys, just for children. I mean, it's comic books. It's 1950s. I mean, everybody just thought comic books were for children, for children, and they were trash, and they were just superheroes. I mean,
giving them some very adult themes for a kid.
Yeah, and then this was just a very, very realistic depiction of what was happening and how it all worked, how it operated, step by step by step, and just the horror of it all. And it's just, I mean, just the very fact of war itself just gives you the idea that this is just insanity. I mean, and of course, and it introduces the philosophical question. Of course, there must be times where there is no choice. There is no option. If you're just against a true evil, you must take up arms. But still, it's just the horror of it and the reality of being in this madness.
It's quite interesting because wasn't it, was the Vietnam War in the 60s, was that when that was the first time footage from a war was actually sent home, so people saw how, you know, how violent it really was? And this would almost be like a depiction of that reality of war before you had the, you know, filming and people over there communicating.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I think this is written as at high a level in terms of literary quality. It's definitely written as at high a level as any novel.
Yeah, it's really vivid, and it's very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, it's not all action. It's there's a lot of slow talking, which a lot of war is. It's just, you know, and you know, it's hard to think of a very, you know, the average, you know, boy who would be interested in it depicted in this way. They just want, you know, guns and firing, and there's lots of that, of course, but you know, there are subtler themes going on here.
Mm.
And yeah, it's just the emotional impact of it.
Do you think
it's certainly not depicted glamorously? It's not intended to be a celebration, by no means.
Given the age of soldiers being sent to war at that time, do you think this would be relatable to them?
That's my understanding. Is a lot of soldiers did, in fact, state that it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it was they went bankrupt because of the government were against them. You know, it was closed up finally. That's why easy disappeared.
Oh, that's what's happening. All right, I'm gonna do a few more if I can. Enemy. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, this one I thought was interesting. Observation post, OP. Yeah, I mean, it's a remarkable, the art style of these artists. This is Russ Heath. Just remarkable pen and ink work. Just the rendering is just remarkable. I mean, you see it in like the daily comic strips, things like, you know, Apartment 7G and, you know, Rex Morgan MD and things like that. But, you know, that kind of hyper realistic rendering style. But when it's applied to this kind of content, I mean, it's really, really powerful. I mean, it's not glamorizing it at all. It's not saying, it's not going for the titillation. It's not going for the visceral thrill of it. It's really just trying to present it realistically. And by doing that, that makes it even more horrible. And yeah, it's I'm spoiling a lot of this, but the end of this story is, yeah, this guy, you know, did what he had to do, and knowing he was committing suicide, but he had no choice. He had to order the artillery to fire on their location, even though he knew he would die himself by doing that, but he had no choice, because if he didn't, the Germans were going to attack the rest of the platoon, and so he sacrificed himself. I mean, very, very, very brutal stories here. And like here, you see, you know, all these, you know, rough, manly men doing manly things, you know, in war, and they're rough, and you know, you get all these meditative points, you know. Here's this farm boy from Iowa, whatever the heck, and he's saying, you know, let from home. She knitted me socks to keep me warm. I wish I were home right now. Funny thing. I was getting a job. I didn't want to join Pop's gas station business. I mean, just, this is not intended to be light reading. You're supposed to be emotionally moved by this, really. And yeah, very adult concerns, really, even though it's still supposedly a comic book for children, but these are adult issues, I mean, you're just expected to follow orders. You're not expected to question what's going on. And again, same thing. Yeah. And Harold Parks, man of the 2nd Platoon, what am I doing here? Why aren't I back in Wisconsin with the folks and Ginny? I've got so much to live for. And he just told them, go ahead, leave me here. Just leave the ammunition. Now get out of here. He's basically sacrificing himself so to everybody else. And he leaves the bottle of Chianti, guzzle it down, makes things easier. And he says, what's the use of that? I've got to think clearly. The boys are running down. I've got to give them rear guard protection. This is like a book I once read. What did it say? No man is an island in himself. Every man is part of the whole. Here they come. They're climbing the hill from 2 sides. I'll wait. And that's the end of the story. I mean, he's done for. He's stayed behind so that everybody else could survive. And he knows he's committing suicide. He knows he's not going to survive. He knows but he's doing it for the higher purpose. And as he says, I've got so much to live for. Why did I do this? Why am I here? But he's sacrificing himself for the higher purpose. I mean, that's got to choke you up. That's got to bring something to your emotions. And then the story ends there because you know what's about to happen. And if you talk to veterans, I mean, you get story after story like this, really. So yeah, I think I've never taken the time to read Harvey Kurtzman's war comics until this week. And they've been considered the greatest war comics ever done, but among the greatest comics ever done. And I can now see why. I can see that they certainly deserve their reputation.
Yeah, the artwork looks really powerful, compared to a lot of graphic novels you read. It doesn't make you want to go to war.
No, it doesn't. That's what I think. I think if they can be called and considered anti-war, it's because all he did was depict war realistically. That's really all he did. He didn't have a position. He didn't take a side. But by doing that, by presenting it realistically, it inherently, in and of itself, becomes anti-war. They become anti-war stories, just because you can see the horror of it. You can see the insanity of it.
How is war typically presented in the 50s? I mean, that was just after the end of World War II.
Yeah, these were in the mid 1950s when these were being done.
Like the movie Patton came out right around then, wasn't that? That kind of romanticized the.
Yeah. These are not romanticized in any way. These are not sentimentalized. These are just very brutal depictions. And I think in a lot of ways it's even more powerful than reading a story, because the graphic imagery of it. And it's different from watching a movie, because watching a movie is a passive experience. You're sitting back and you're letting the incoming visual come in. That's passive. When it's a reading experience with a comic book, then you're intimately involved. You're collaborating with a comic. You collaborate with a reading experience. And there's 3 minds involved. There's the text, there's your mind, and then there's a third mind created between the two. That's what a reading experience is. You don't get that with a movie or a television show. You don't. so it's even more graphic. It's even more powerful, in my opinion. I mean, these are subjective opinions.
No, that's cool. I never thought of reading as in that three minds framework before. That's really interesting.
Yeah, William Burroughs talked about that.
Oh, nice.
Let me see if I can pull up another one. Here we go. Oh, let's do this one. Okay. Do I have this right? Where are you? Here you are. All right. Here we go. Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, the Rough Riders, the rough, tough people. And look at this. Let's just do this one. Yeah, rough, tough. We're the stuff. We want to fight, but we can't get enough. Yeah. The Battle of San Juan Hill, led by Teddy Roosevelt, later to become president. Yeah, we elected this rough, tough, macho guy who's gonna solve everything. Yeah, and in the middle of it, look what happens. Kabam! I'm hit, and yeah, and then he just wanders around, and then he starts a conversation with a land crab. And he starts reminiscing of all the things he's seen over the last few months in the Spanish-American War here. You could hear the bullets zinging by when they missed you, but it's the one that hits you that you don't hear. I've seen him hit. There's no mistaking the chug of a bullet hitting a man, and there's no mistaking the jingling thud of a falling trooper. A man falls quick, quiet, and limp like a sack, without the theatricals they show on the stage. I've seen him die all kinds of ways. Lying amongst the tarantulas, I saw a trooper hit 3 different places by the same bullet. Hit through his hat, then traveling away and tearing away the left cheek, then into the left hand resting beneath the chin, and finally into the chest. Oh, just brutal. When we told him he was liable to be hit standing up that way, he told us the Spanish bullet hadn't been molded, could kill him. And then the Spanish bullet hit him in the mouth and killed him. Just one thing after another. And I've seen him die every way, not like this, eaten alive by land crabs. And then, oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, that's pretty brutal. And then we cut back to a long shot of all these guys yelping and hollering, rough, tough, we're the stuff. Bully boys, we've taken the hill. And that's the end of the story. Yeah, that's not glamorizing it. That's not romanticizing it. That's just brutal irony. And like, yeah, you're not going to expect like a 11-year-old boy is going to really get. That's very, very adult to realize the contrast of what they're saying here. There's nothing glamorous about that. There's nothing, macho and He-Man about that. That's just ugly, brutal reality. I mean, there's nothing, sentimentalized about it.
What year did it come out?
What?
What year did it come out?
Oh, these were early 50s, mid 50s.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering, like, if
52, 53, yeah.
I was wondering if it had any influence on the like sort of beat generation, kind of the anti-war movement of the future, but it seems a little bit too early.
Let's see if I got one more here. No, guess not. Sailor. No. Okay, the other one, I guess. Messages. Big if. Okay. Okay, download. Save, thank you. Open, thank you. Sharing. Okay. So this one, I think, starts off with this guy. This is in Korea. A GI sits thinking in front of a row of ancient Korean double posts. If, not much of a word, a little word, lots of meaning. Like if those double posts had only been a little further down the road, or if that shell crater was only 100 feet further away. Yeah. Missed a target by a mile. Had to land here. A million craters in Korea. That crater was made half an hour ago, 27 minutes ago. Yeah. We go through this. And just every single step of the way of this, you know, like if only Paul Maynard hadn't volunteered. But if Paul Maynard wouldn't have volunteered if he hadn't been standing by that particular machine gun. If only Paul Maynard had stuck with the tank. If only he hadn't gone down the road where the double post sat waiting. And then he sits down, eats. Yeah. Yeah, if only Paul Maynard hadn't stopped to watch the planes. If only Paul Maynard hadn't stopped for chow. Yeah. The buckle on my boots coming loose. I stopped to fix it. And then an explosion. If Paul Maynard hadn't stopped to buckle the boot, could have walked 50 more feet in the time it took to buckle that boot. If Paul Maynard hadn't stopped to look at his watch, could have walked 25 feet in time to look at the watch. If Paul Maynard walked faster or slower or didn't walk at all. If only it was only a stray mortar shell, could have landed anywhere. If only that shell splinter had gone 5 more inches to the right. Or if Paul Maynard's heart had been 5 more inches to the left. Or if Paul Maynard hadn't even been born. And finally, you realize what had happened after all this entire story. You realize that he'd been mortally impacted by a fragment of the mortar shell. And he was just ruminating to himself as he died. And yeah, any one of those things, of like 50 different things that happened over the last few hours, if any one of those things had been different, then he wouldn't have died right then. But so yeah, that one's gotta.
That was a powerful story. I still remember it. Yeah.
Okay. And opening up this again. Oh wait, we already did that.
I gotta drop off, but thank you for putting all of this together.
Sure, Carol. I'm glad you joined and hope to see you again.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
Nice talking.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, well, I guess we did our discussion of Frontline Combat.
Great.
Unless anybody has anything else they want to say about any of it. Next week on the schedule, we have the Margaret Sanger comic. Unless anybody wants to suggest something else. But if not, then that's the one we'll do. Margaret Sanger for next week. That'll be interesting.
Is that the author?
Peter Bagg, I think.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, sure. Bye, Billy. yeah, I'm glad I read these. I'm glad I got a chance to go through them, and I think we might.
I read the one with the
later.
Spaniards.
What?
I read the one with the conquistador. I think it wasn't the North Korean soldiers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to look at what number that is. I think it's 18, if I'm not wrong.
I think maybe we'll do some more at some future point, perhaps. I wouldn't mind that.
Mm.
But as I say, there's a lot of comics to cover, and we'll never run out. If we did one a day, we'd never run out.
Mm-hmm.
Doing one a week, we'll have endless great comics to go through, and it's a beautiful medium. And I wouldn't have read this without Stephen pushing me for something along these lines.
Yeah, I mean, like the story is pretty self-explanatory. Like, you know, you've got the soldiers that are commanded to go to war, and
yeah, it wouldn't have been my it's not my usual thing. I gravitate
Mm-hmm.
towards, but I am glad I read these, and I see now the reputation that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're certainly very powerful work. And it's a good use of the medium, I think. Certainly, very powerful.
Yeah. I think the art style is a bit similar to, like, I don't know, Mike Mignola. Mike Mignola's got that, you know, harsh black shadows. That's, you know, if you read Hellboy, that's
Mignola.
Yeah, that's the style he goes for.
Yeah, no, I'm sure all the great artists of the field have always spoke about how they were indebted to the great EC artists. All of them were great graphic designers, certainly.
Yeah.
All right, David, y'all, I'm probably gonna head out.
Sure, Cole. Yeah, thanks for
Yeah, I'm head off as well then. Okay.
Thanks so much for hosting.
Yeah, see you.
All right.
I don't know where Steven is.
Yeah, keep checking the
like somebody didn't reply.
Calendar. We'll be doing.
Maybe he's, I don't know, maybe he's off.
Next week.
He might be mowing the lawn or something. So you're not celebrating Thanksgiving, are you?
Well,
I mean, you skipped just for this event.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
I see.
There you are.
Like everybody's gone.
Oh, Steven's.
I was just feeling a bit sleepy, so I was leaning over a bit.
I thought you were mowing the lawn, Steven. So that's why you're
No, that's fine. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad I read these. I'm glad this was chosen. We might be able to do some more later on in a few weeks or months if we like. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
I was saying to everybody, yeah, we got Margaret Sanger next week if you want to do that. But if any objection, but that's the plan. It's the Margaret Sanger book.
I didn't notice everybody leave, so they all got bored pretty quick, eh?
Well, what would you say, Natalia? Everybody got bored?
I was finding the old guy a bit hard to follow, you know, it's a bit exasperating.
Yeah, Billy.
Yeah.
Can't really understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing some more of these later on. Yeah, I think there were like in Two-Fisted Tales, yeah, they do like the ancient European wars, and there's some pirate stories, and yeah, anything that's just warfare, they'll do. So
I like the one about the single action Colt Army, the pistol.
Oh, you read that one?
You recall
I read the
it?
wrong one.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder. We might do a good Western comic. I wouldn't mind if you'd like, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Western's okay, I suppose.
Find a good one. Well, you know, yeah, I'll take suggestions. This came about from your suggestion. I'm surprised a lot of people showed up to it.
I don't know, was it my suggestion, was it?
You said you wanted something that
Oh,
had.
yeah. I didn't suggest particularly war comics. But yeah, I found in the Two-Fisted Tales there was some stuff I could like.
So my understanding of the calendar, yeah, we got Margaret Sanger for next week. Then Alex Raymond the week after. Flash Gordon creator. Then Sandman. That'll be easy. You can read that in an hour. Christmas is on a Friday this year. I guess it's Saturday for you. So it'll be the day.
Yeah, it's Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, our meeting will be on Saturday for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'm trying to find a comic that I read.
Boxing Day. That's right. The Boxing Day. 26. So that's the schedule I'm thinking of doing. And we'll see if anybody likes that.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, and there's some anime movies on the calendar.
Oh, which one?
Well, on Wednesday, we're going to watch Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind, which I've never seen.
It's a watch along, or is it
It's a watch
discussion?
along. Yeah, we're just going to watch
it.
it.
Great.
I've never seen it.
Wednesday, what time?
Yeah. Wednesday at 5 p.m.
Wednesday, you mean like in Australia?
You in Australia.
Sorry?
Yeah, that's going to be the next Thursday morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thursday morning.
And the same time, Saturday, we'll do Night on the Galactic Railroad. That's on the 5th. Well, for you, the 6th. Sunday morning.
I watched a couple of the Ghibli movies, but I've never actually seen Nausicaa.
Yeah, I've never seen it either. It's supposedly one of the greatest ones. Yeah. So we'll have to see about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a watch along. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, the most popular one is Spirited Away, of course, for Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah, I have seen that one, but it was a long time ago. I wouldn't mind seeing it away. I'll probably schedule that one.
Yeah, that has a bit of a more, like philosophical message, I think.
Well, he didn't last long, did he?
Yeah. Are you feeding your cat, David?
Oh, the what?
Your cat.
It's David's familiar, It's when the Inquisition comes along, I'll try him for witchcraft. He's got a familiar. So you got news back from the solicitor lawyer person, did you?
Yeah, so she said I might have to actually take another course to extend the visa, and yeah, because my major is not included in the occupation list, I might have to have like a state sponsorship. That's what she said. I'm not really sure what she meant, so that's why I'm waiting for a reply. Yeah, I don't know.
I was just telling Matala about getting a residency, Australian residency, because she's in Australia on a visa.
Yeah, student visa.
Well, oh, that's good. Well, if you want it, yeah, good luck.
Thank you. But it's not as easy as I thought.
I don't recommend coming to America.
No,
so it's no longer the land of opportunity, is it?
Well,
Oh, no, you've still got plenty of refugees trying to get there, haven't you?
Yeah, I guess it depends on which. I mean, yeah, if you want to get into like the animation industry, I guess there's more of an industry here and stuff like that.
I don't know. I mean, Aussie. I'm not sure if animation is like really in demand, but I think it is. But just doesn't really, I'm not really sure. Actually.
Well, they have made some cartoons here recently, have they? Or it's one of the Australian cartoons.
There's not a lot. I mean, Australia, I think the entertainment industry is not as big as America, but they're pretty affluent in like advertising, and yeah, animation for like advertising is pretty popular.
I know what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna make the announcement for next week.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for her reply. She hasn't responded yet. So that's what she said.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what state sponsorship involves.
Me neither. Hang on, I'm just gonna.
I might have to send a message to that guy in Queensland, because that's what he does in the TAFE courses there. There's a lot of immigrants. And he's saying that the aim of the course is to get a residency.
Was it the guy that Vidura was talking to? Or that was a...
No, that was just Vidura, what he thinks himself. He doesn't know the other guy. This is another guy I know who's in Queensland.
Yeah, just I'll just try to find as much information as I can.
Meetup's interface is so hard to navigate.
Why?
Well, because they use a lot of these HTML tricks that are supposed to be flashy, and when you click on announce, it's supposed to have a drop down HTML. But the problem with that is it just gums up the functionality. It just hangs. Like you click announce and it doesn't do anything. It just hangs. But that's just an HTML glitch. And that it could be solved if they got rid of all that. But no, they want to be flashy and interesting.
I've never had that glitch before, so I don't know.
It's just causes more trouble than it's worth. And like when I'm trying to upload a photograph to the events, a picture, it just hangs. It just hangs and hangs. You got to upload it like 5 or 6 times before it goes. but they're not going to fix that.
It doesn't have anything to do with your account, doesn't it? Maybe.
Well, it's a link there which talks about skilled visas 190. That's something that came up under state sponsorship. So, you know, you can try and check on the net for what you can find out.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, well, the story about the Colt Army revolver was one where there's a gunman. He shoots his mining partner and goes to town and gambles away all the gold dust and throws a pistol in as tries to gamble with that, and he loses that. And then the guy who's got the pistol shoots another couple of guys that accuse him of cheating a couple of days later. But he gets chased out of the building, he gets shot, and he loses a pistol in the street, which gets picked up by this Mexican who takes it home and shoots his overbearing brother with it, uses 2 bullets. So it's got 1 bullet left. And the guy that shot his brother goes and hides in the desert, and he just throws the gun away. And eventually the miner had shot his partner, had gone out to try and mine again, and he's traipsing through the desert, and he's out of food and out of water and dying, and he finds a pistol, uses the last shot to commit suicide. So this is a series of subroutines that are based on the pistol itself. Now, this is interesting. When I mentioned that Viking saga, the saga of King Heinrich the Wise, this is a point that Christopher Tolkien made when he translated it. And they said that this was the particular book they based Lord of the Rings on. And Michael Moorcock's Elric character was also based on this same story. The story is about a sword which is cursed, which has sort of superpower, but it ends up creating tragedy. So, you know, every time it's drawn, it has to kill somebody. One guy kills his brother with it, and it just passes on from person to person. Eventually, it causes the death of the owner in many cases. And so that's a case where Christopher Tolkien pointed out that this hadn't been seen in any story or legend prior to the creation. But this one was a story where this object, a pistol or a sword, becomes the object, which becomes a part of a successive phase of tales, as the rings were in Lord of the Rings.
But the bullet, the bullet just, you know, caused the guy to commit suicide instead of, you know, obeying that. Yeah.
Well, there's 1 bullet. He finds a pistol out in the desert, and there's 1 bullet left, and he's dying anyway, so he commits suicide. So how's the coronavirus going in your part of the world, David?
From the article articles I've been reading, there's a huge surge going. It's just getting worse. That's what I've been
yeah, in California, I think, yeah, there's mounting deaths and cases, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing or reading.
I thought there would be a vaccine. I don't know. Somewhere.
Well, the vaccines are limited because it's the same with all colds and flu. It's because the virus reproduces in people's cells. You can create a vaccine which targets the virus as it's traveling through the bloodstream. But the trouble with that is it wears off after a few months. And this has always been the case with flu shots and stuff like this. That doesn't work all the time because it's just this simple thing that it uses your own cells to reproduce in. That's what makes it so difficult. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how well the vaccine will work out. I wouldn't imagine that it could eliminate the virus, because if they haven't succeeded in eliminating any other virus. Tell me about the virus and cold types which have been wiped out by vaccines.
Hay fever. Hay fever is not quite done yet.
Well, hay fever is just an allergic reaction.
Yeah, it's not a... Do you get a immunization for it, like to prevent the symptoms? 'Cause I'm not.
I have heard that if they run a series of tests, they can find out precisely which pollens affect you, and they might be, they can do something like that, but I don't know how expensive it is.
Okay. I thought that it would be like something similar to, like a flu shot.
Yeah, well, it's an allergic reaction. It's not a bacteria or a virus traveling through your system, which your immune system would attack. It's actually an overreaction of your immune system, what's being produced. Yeah, well, you can take a tablet that lasts so many hours.
Are you taking one? I think I saw you blew your nose earlier, so it probably wasn't that effective.
I took one last night.
How many times do you have to take? Like just twice a day, I guess.
Yeah, so I woke up. I slept a fair amount last night. I must have slept from about 10:30 to 6 in the morning.
Oh, that's early.
I didn't get up during the night like usual, but yeah, I still woke up a bit. Maybe it was a warm day yesterday. I still woke up a bit out of whack.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to look at the logos and.
I thought you asked who was the
Okay. So let's see.
Okay, there we are. The Woman Rebel, the Margaret Sanger story.
You need me to send you the?
Oh yeah, I guess that'll be handy. Yeah.
Send it to you too, Mattelli, if you want.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, sure.
You have my. You have
I
my.
just sent it meetup messaging.
Oh, okay. Meetup messaging.
Margaret Sanger. I'm looking forward to this. I've been wanting to read this. My cat again.
Steven, I tried this. I don't really know how to how to roll it over on my shoulder. The massage.
Oh, I bet.
Woman.
Yeah, I was using
my
it
hands are a bit
today.
too short.
But you need to have a surface underneath. Like it depends how soft your bed is. If you got a hard bed, I don't know. A soft bed, I don't know how
I think
you
my
go.
bed is okay actually.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you got to lie on top of it in the bed, so you'll get it under, say, your shoulders. If they're feeling a bit tense, you're able to relieve a bit of tension by putting some pressure.
How long do I have to put it under my shoulders? It's like
As long as it makes you happy, you know, whatever it does. Or I get it lined up on both sides of my spine so I can get the muscles along the spine. So yeah, I'm on top of the bed and I've got the thing underneath me and I'm rolling my back over the top. And
okay. Yeah, I probably should lie down and do this.
well, anyway, I'll sign off for the moment and come back for the
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
David
There's
Mills
another
singing.
meeting later. Sure.
Yeah, perennial philosophy. Yeah, I might
Alright.
slap in on that one. Maybe.
Okay.
I might.
See you guys next week then.
Perennial philosophy. Okay. I sent you the
Sanger.
files already.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye.